On this week's GTA 6 o'clock, thunderstorms and fake news, debunking rumours, and GTA Online 2.0. It's all here on this week's GTA 6 o'clock. Hello and welcome, friends, to episode 19 of GTA 6 o'clock. My name is James Jarvis, and this week I am joined, as always, by Dan Dawkins. Hello, Dan.
Good day.
This might end up being a shorter episode because Dan and I were going to be on holiday this week, but we have come into the studio to record this special edition just for you because we didn't want to miss a week. So we've got a few things to cover. Might be shorter, might end up being a normal length episode. Let's see where we get to.
Yeah, and what's funny here is we're recording slightly earlier than we normally do, so the episode may be slightly less topical than it usually is, only by a day or two. It will be just our luck for when we're on holiday, when we normally record, for a new trailer to drop or something crazy to happen. So in which case, you may be hearing an additional episode this week. Who knows, right? Like, it depends on where we are with our holiday schedule. But we wanted to make sure there was an episode. So, let's run through a big roundup of exciting things.
Yeah, with that in mind, welcome to last week's breaking news. Let's jump into some things that we covered in last week's episode first. The bumper sticker debate. Was it a map? Wasn't it a map? We've had an update from Peaceful Gamer on Twitter, who actually took some more screen grabs and some different frames and sent them over to us and said that they've looked at it frame by frame, and actually it looks more like a rounded shape with white text over the top left portion. And a little bit more investigation into this does suggest that it looks quite a lot like the Key West flag, which we can probably throw up on screen now. It's a big blue background, yellow sun in the middle. I think the GTA 6 subreddit has also made this connection. Someone did actually comment that you should check the subreddit. It's obviously that. And I'm sorry that we can't keep up to date with absolutely everything that's going on in the world. But having put them side by side, I think I have now convinced myself that it probably it isn't a map, and this feels like the most likely solution on this, Dan.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's easy for me to say now. I was always skeptical, but that's as much to do with my failing eyesight. I could never see the map on the bumper sticker. But, I'm someone who wants to believe, and I could understand Rockstar might do something like that. I think this puts this to bed. So let's continue our sweet raft of debunkings.
Right, debunking number 2, another thing we discussed last week. Michael Virgilio update. Was Fireball on his CV? Yes. Was
Yes.
Fireball related to the code name of what we think GTA 6's voice casting call was? Almost certainly not. There is actually this was sent to us by another one of our community members. There's a voice reel that he has on Vimeo, which we can probably play for you now.
Fireball, il programma col peggio del peggio della radio.
So yeah, as you've just heard, he has done voiceover for a show called Fireball on Radio Hinterland. So this feels like that was what that was. It's not related to the game. It just happens to be some commercial radio station called Fireball.
Yeah, and look, as we'd said on the show last week, I said there is actually a Radio Hinterland, which on its not very good website is an Italian radio station. The Vimeo reel would confirm that. It looks like he's recorded a short for Radio Hinterland, the Italian radio station. I'm not entirely sure what Fireball is. I think it's like a TV show. And their special guest was a famous US restaurateur, and that's what this relates to. So to do with GTA 6... no.
And just to point out, I think this is why we love doing this show, and why it's good to have everyone listen to us and send suggestions in and comments. It's so we can suggest things like this, discuss them, and share this kind of info together, debunking things or not. So just to say thank you for getting in touch, and it's good to debunk this.
Let's go for a triumvirate of debunkings, because our next one is also to do with a set of rumours that have done the rounds that probably need pulling apart.
Yeah, now this has been more widely reported, which is why at the beginning I gave it some credibility. This was posted on Twitter from an account called GTA 6 Gossip, which I think from the name of that account you can already probably see where this is going. They have said that a Rockstar dev has accidentally leaked the story length of GTA 6. This image confirms the length of GTA 6's story will be around 40 hours. It also mentions thunderstorms. And then this tweet came with 3 separate images, one from a Rockstar game dev, who actually is a Rockstar game dev. That LinkedIn profile is real. Yeah. And then 2 other images, one of which is like a screen recording, and I think the alleged information came from that screen recording flicking to what was supposedly an internal memo between Rockstar developers saying, let me read out what it said. It says, additionally, we are focused on finalizing the weather dynamics, particularly thunderstorms. Please work through 31 to 34 sets of your R9. Make sure NPC behavior and activities change depending on temperature. It then says below that, we need to go over J and L and verify that bugs and glitches are none. Make sure R9 is responsive. Now, before we even dive into what that kind of stuff means, I'm going to say that this whole thing is certainly fake. Aside from the fact that Sonny, the guy in the picture, does work at Rockstar, everything else is just cobbled together information and fake things. If you actually look at the screen recording that they've posted where allegedly this thing comes from, and I say allegedly because it's not actually in the screen recording on the tweet because they say that it's been deleted now, but the Twitter accounts, there's a Storm Monkey on there that underneath are saying like, hey man, you should delete this, it might get you in trouble. That account isn't from a Rockstar developer. The other one, like, it was just a whole load of numbers at the end. It doesn't have any other accounts. So all in all, a whole load of fakeness, I would say.
Is there any kernel of fact in there? We looked at the fact that Sonny Blythe actually is a Rockstar developer. Is there any other element of this we would say feels true? Well,
I mean, yes. The finalizing weather dynamics, particularly thunderstorms, jumps out as of course there's going to be weather dynamics, and of course there's going to be thunderstorms. That's a thing.
So we think that written text is real?
No. I think it's based. What did you say in a few previous episodes ago? Like the truthfulness of this.
It's what I'm getting to is the truthiness.
Yeah.
So like all rumours, I think increasingly in the social media age, people are getting very good at leaking rumours through a degree of truthiness. So in the middle of it, like panning for gold or a diamond covered in coal, there's a kernel of truth wrapped in a whole load of obfuscation and nonsense. And I'm trying to get to the middle of, is there a cut diamond at the middle of all of this and the rest is just mess? Like it seems like the inclusion of Sonny Blythe, yes, that's real because he's someone who's at Rockstar. And then I was just thinking, is this text that's written, whilst it sounds plausible, but do we actually have any way of knowing this is true or not? Or is it just it correlates with things we feel to be true?
Yes, I think number 2, which obviously at a glance you'd go, yes, that guy works at Rockstar. Yes, we believe there's going to be weather dynamics and thunderstorms in the game. Yeah. Therefore, everything else in this must be correct. But I don't even think that text and the screenshot of that text has come from him at all.
Right.
And it's just been made up, put next to his face and said, this guy has said this, where actually I don't believe that stuff was ever been said. So, yeah, the kernels of truth in here are that person does work for Rockstar, weather dynamics, particularly thunderstorms, probably going to be in the game, as they have been in GTA 5 and Red Dead 2. Why wouldn't they be in 6?
Yeah, of course. And to zoom right back up to the top of this rumour, people were initially, I understand, misreading this text that might well be fake, saying that the number 40 there was a thing about it being 1 to 40 in terms of, I think someone had said, oh, that's to do with how much playtest checking they've got to do. Someone else had gone, no, that's the length of the single player game confirmed, which shows how crazy and rampant these things can get. But again, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was swiftly debunked online, as in someone leapt on it as a single player length revealed.
So when it says below that, we need to go over J and L and verify bugs and glitches are none. It says we need to go over J and L, and then in brackets, 1 to 40 hours. People were taking that as, oh, that must mean, J and L must mean Jason and Lucia, and 1 to 40 hours must mean the first 1 to 40 hours of gameplay. You've got to go over it and make sure there's no bugs in it. Like, there's so many leaps and stretches in there.
Yeah.
First of all, the image isn't real. Then you have to say, well, J and L definitely means Jason and Lucia. Then 1 to 40 hours means that 1 to 40 hours of gameplay. It's just a madness. And yeah. So even if you were reading all into it and you wanted to believe that it was true, you'd then have to believe that J and L meant Jason and Lucia, which in a context of someone writing a dev instruction to someone else could be true. But then the languages of like verify that bugs and glitches are none doesn't feel like grammatically correct, even if you were writing that, just in passing as an internal thing. I don't think you're going to write it like that. And make sure R9 is responsive. Who the heck knows what R9 could be? Like round 9, are they trying to suggest that that's the Rage engine versioning? All of that kind of stuff. It's all like, the point is moo, as Joey from Friends would say. Not moot. It's a moo point, like the cow has no opinion, because none of this is real.
Yeah, and I think if there's like any moral to this story, it's that we live in an age of rampant disinformation. We are, as much as we try to be diligent, we're as human as anyone else. We're trying to do our best to sift and pan this stuff. I guess when you've got sites that are called GTA 6 gossip, the clue is in the title to an extent. And, maybe that's okay, because they're being upfront and saying, if you want it, it's some stuff to chew on and have fun with, right? It's almost like it's its own entertainment. But you have to understand that there's a lot of nonsense out there. So, yeah, we're doing our best to keep on top of that.
Yeah, the issue with that becomes when other sites and things start picking it up and reporting it as rumours, which then in turn sometimes become facts. And once it's gone through the mill enough times, it's hard to go all the way back to the source and go, actually, let's take a proper look at this.
Yeah.
So, speaking of things which may be leading us down the garden path, we've also had, there's another image that's been circulating online recently, which allegedly is from a Rockstar 25th holiday party, which would have been in December of 2023. Now, this is allegedly, again, from an internal communication that's just like, hey, Rockstar employees, we're having a holiday party. And it came with this logo, which is a reimagining of the Rockstar logo. Now, there are quite a few Easter eggs in here that relate to old Rockstar franchises. Like, there's the cowboy hats from Red Dead 2. There's a table tennis bat from Rockstar's Table Tennis. There's some razor blades and horses and cars.
Like a knuckle duster.
Yeah.
It feels very Rockstar. Clearly nods to their lineage. It's quite cool. It feels Rockstar-y. It's plausible. However, I guess we can get to what the conclusion people drawn from this is what we think.
Well, the reason people got excited about this is because in the bottom right-hand side, there is a Banshee, a car from GTA, that has it looks like it has a slightly different design from the current one in GTA 5, GTA Online. And so then the extrapolation into that went, well, then is this a hint to a new redesigned Banshee for GTA 6? Now, as we will get to, you have to jump through quite a lot of hoops to get to that conclusion. But I think the overall thing is this image a credible image to begin with? Could it have been something that was sent round? And what is the the backstory and the heritage of Rockstar doing this previously. And Dan, you've had a little look around to see if this matches anything that has been released before.
Yeah, so what we've been trying to do is to see if they officially released any artwork, merchandising link-ups with a similar visual style to this image that is positioned as something they released internally. Now, this might be they had a big physical party or a virtual party for Rockstar employees, and this may have been, who knows what this was. It might have been a poster in the background, it might have been an invite, it might have been something that got sent on an email for people to come and attend or to celebrate this thing. It may have never been intended for external use. What is clear is everything they did externally, and by that I mean for us, the public, none of it looks like this. And in fact, the most visible parts of them celebrating their 25th anniversary, Rockstar celebrating their 25th anniversary, Sam Houser posted on the official Rockstar website, where he said a lot of very lovely words about the history of Rockstar, and then basically said, and the real treat is we've got a trailer for you next month, because he posted this in late November and the anniversary was December. They also added a number of 25th anniversary items to GTA Online. They're 4 T-shirts. I think we can probably pop them up on screen. One of them is Rockstar Says Relax. Another is a classic Rockstar Games logo. There's sort of a collegiate, sort of bully looking one, even though it's more of a Rockstar Games one. These are all like classic T-shirts or merch I think Rockstar have produced. Long story short, none of them look like this sort of embossed metallic logo that is leaked. I've also checked because they did a anniversary Spotify playlist to celebrate the GTA soundtrack. The visual for that is not like this. So all I'm saying is I can't find any other visual touch points that confirm that this is legitimate. It doesn't mean it's not, because it might have been designed purely for internal use. But usually when designers get given a brief, they'll be the person who handles the visual language of an event. And usually you would unify that. So what you would have it's rare that you would do something internally that would never be seen externally. It would almost seem like a waste of work. So I can't say definitively not, but it doesn't quite ring true for me. What I will say is the image is very well made.
Yes.
And it is plausible, but I cannot corroborate it with anything.
No, I'm going to say it's a very nice looking good bit of fan art, which has been made and then circulated around. I'm very willing to be proved wrong on this, but I think that there's just a few too many things. And even if it is real, I don't really think there's much here in the design of that car to suggest anything like groundbreakingly new. So I think we'll put this down to a probably not, but willing to be proved wrong otherwise. Right then, let's move on to something that is actually credible.
Hey!
And that it really does exist in the world. Now, this is the news that Rockstar has added, or going to add, Bully and LA Noire to GTA Plus. So in an article on the Newswire, Rockstar have said, we recently added Red Dead Redemption with access to Undead Nightmare to the stellar games included with GTA Plus library, and members can look forward to more Rockstar classics becoming available later this year, including LA Noire and Bully. Now, Dan, that in itself, good news.
Oh, good news.
To get to play those two games again and have them on existing platforms and being able to dive back in, that's cool. But in itself, not a huge amount of news there other than, hey, I saw some posts again, like reframing this into Rockstar is revisiting the Bully franchise, and it's like, technically that is true, but that is one of the most clickbaity headlines I have ever seen.
They've been revisiting it in news story world for about 10 to 15 years, so I'm not reading that into it.
So yeah, the fact that those two games are coming to GTA Plus in itself, not massive news, but as part of the same article that was posted on the Rockstar Newswire on April the 2nd, there was a tiny snippet of information in there that says, plus, look out for the opportunity to secure a new bonus supercar as part of your GTA Plus membership with this summer's big GTA Online update. Now, that wasn't the crux of the article. The article was all about enjoying the benefits of GTA Plus membership. But what this does suggest is that come the summer, there is going to be a GTA Online update, and in their words, a big one. Now, obviously, there have been big, substantial GTA Online updates in the past, but what the current circulation of rumours are is that this could be the last big GTA Online update before the transition into whatever GTA 6's online versions is. The speculation then goes even further to go, well, if it's going to be the last update of GTA Online for this, let's call it current generation, like what is it going to be? And to add a little bit more fuel to the fire, on the same day that post went out, we had Shawn Fonteno post on Twitter or X just the words shush with a shush emoji and a picture of Franklin. Now, let's connect all the dots here on our massive mind map and go, is this a suggestion that as part of that GTA Online summer update, Franklin could return in some form, some form of story-based mission within GTA Online?
Yeah, and there is precedent here because Franklin was the star, along with Lamar, the star of the GTA Online The Contract update, which is a major update released in 2021, linked to the Dr. Dre soundtrack, where I think he played like a degree of celebrity fixer, and it was all, it's an opportunity for your player to link up with Franklin. That makes sense. Now, a lot of the fan sites reporting on this update, I think this might be wishful thinking. Some of them were saying, wouldn't it be great if this was the Michael DLC or update we've always wanted? However, that doesn't align with Franklin going, the character, Shawn Fonteno saying, shh, or, wait, let's see what happens. So if it were to be Michael, it would be a bolt from the blue, and it feels like fan wishful thinking. It makes more sense were it to be Franklin returning in some way. These are speculative leaps, but there is a precedent for him being a part of the GTA Online lineage. And when you see him in GTA Online, he's married, he's a bit older, he exists within that universe. So there is a continuity chain to follow here.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that even if this does happen and let's say, everything aligns and Michael and Franklin do turn up in this big online update, is it going to point towards anything GTA 6 related? I'm not sure. I can't see a world where that story mission ends in GTA Online and Michael and Franklin go, well, it's been great here in Los Santos, but let's get on that plane to Miami. And you're like, wow, they're off to, Leonida and they're going to have a great time. We're going to see them. I just don't see any of that stuff happening. I think it would be nice to come full circle and give them a final goodbye in some kind of mission. But for it to point explicitly towards the next game, I'm not sure. It could be wrong.
I mean, I would do it because I'm shameless and cheesy. But I would get them all together, or at least one of them together, do a mission, and at the end have them talk to another character and quizzically say, what are you going to do next? I don't know, I might go somewhere else, take some time out, maybe go to Miami, we'll go to Leonida. Just as a complete throwaway line that's non-committal, that is enough for fans to go, oh my God! Not to commit to it in any way, because I think also it would be pretty silly to make the star attractions of GTA Online in the new game where you're trying to create a new world and a new lore, the old characters. I don't know. You're more likely to create a sort of non-consequential character, a side character as a bridge between worlds, which Rockstar have done before, rather than make the main characters a main event in the next game. But I would think it would be cool and fun to have some mention, Easter egg or hint of the fact that 6 is coming in the update. Yes,
and that is not unprecedented. Obviously, we've had things appear in GTA Online that have related to Red Dead. You could go and if you collected a number of things, you've got an item in Red Dead. That as we get closer to release, I can see totally them trying to say, get back into GTA Online because you'll unlock this thing in 6 once it comes out. or doing that concurrently, which I think nicely segues into our next set of questions, which is what does this mean for GTA 5's online versus GTA 6's online, or GTA Online 2.0, or whatever it ends up being, and how do those two worlds exist with each other, if they even do at all? Now, Dan, we've been talking about this just before we hit the big red record button, and there's a lot of things going on that is a logistical nightmare to unpick, I would think, for Take-Two and Rockstar.
Yeah, so I'll try and lay out the different tracks, and then we can do our best to... I don't think we can solve this, but I think we can lay out the questions and some of the challenges. So when GTA 6 launches, which in itself is a giant subset of questions, whether it's at launch or within a few weeks of launch, to look at historical precedent, they will launch GTA 6's version of GTA Online. Now, will that be just GTA Online, as in GTA Online is now just GTA 6? That's fine. The bigger question is, when GTA 6 comes out and its version of GTA Online launches, what happens to GTA 5's version of GTA Online, as in you go into Los Santos and explore that playground? Will they attempt to run both worlds concurrently? So there'll be an online version of Leonida, an online version of Los Santos. Everything I know about how games are made and the logistics and the problems of hardware suggests they are never going to physically exist in the same world. It's just too much. There's too many problems in the travel or the whatever fast travel mechanism you're part in. There's too many problems in terms of code talking to each other. There's so many different things. But I also can't see a world where Rockstar go, right, GTA 6 is out now, switch off the old GTA Online and force everyone to play the new one. That largely comes down to money, because GTA Online has been an astonishing cash cow for Take-Two and is still making hand over fist, multi-millions, hundreds of millions, right? And you cannot, as the CEO of Rockstar, go, right, we'll switch that off on day one and we'll hope to migrate everyone across. It's not going to happen. So is there a point where both online universes exist concurrently, where you're able to play, GTA 5's version of GTA Online on your PS5, plus GTA 6 versions on your PS5? And then the big question we had offline was, is there any way that those worlds can speak to each other? And what are the difficulties of running two things concurrently? And where do you think we got to with that, James?
Well, yeah, we kept going back and forth. I think there obviously is a world where those two things can exist together, whether that's you just load up GTA 5 and that's your way into GTA 5 Los Santos Online, and then you load up GTA 6 and that's your way into Leonida's version of online. I think, as you said, having that in one massive hub, it does cause a lot of problems. And I think one of those problems comes with ownership of items on the map. So obviously we know in GTA Online, and we all have an apartment and that kind of thing. The problem is those things exist within that world, and whereas other live service games just have skins and items and things that don't have any physical presence, in GTA Online they do. So then trying to transfer that over into a entirely new map and just going, oh, we've moved your apartment from here to here, but don't worry, you still own it. But then the people who are playing GTA 6 for the first time and maybe haven't played online don't own anything, but you own this massive condo that's worth millions of pounds, becomes really complicated. So, as you say, I don't think we're gonna solve it. And the way that obviously Fortnite and other live service games work is, you do have you can play Fortnite, you can play Lego Fortnite, and you can play Rocket Racing and the music Fortnite Festival, and your currency does come across with you into those different versions of that game, and your outfits and all of that kind of stuff carries across. But the map is essentially reset for every time you jump into that game. So you're always playing in the same Fortnite Island, whereas what is going to happen here is essentially there's going to be 2 islands that might be different, which you can't jump into one or the other. And if you do, what does that mean for, like you say, you've got 200 million GTA dollars in Los Santos. Does that then mean you can just come out and jump straight into Leonida with $200 million that, buys you everything in the game? Or obviously not everything in the game, but, you start with a massive lead over everybody else who might just be starting from scratch. Is that a problem? Is that going to cause balancing issues? Like, maybe not. Like, there's a whole load of things they're going to have to wrestle with to make this work.
Yeah, and one solution to all of this might be to rebrand the front door of GTA Online. So when you say the word GTA Online, at whatever point next year there are effectively 2 versions of it, maybe there's again, this might not be true, I'm just speculating, there could be effectively a new front door where whether you go through your PS5 GTA 5 thing and then load up GTA Online that way, or whether you go through the GTA 6 version on your PS5, the front door is the same for online, where you go choose where to play, Los Santos or Leonida.
That I can believe.
In theory, right? In theory, that could happen. And if you had not bought GTA 6 yet, but you were a 5 player, maybe it greys it out and says you need to upgrade to get this or pay to get this or whatever. There is another spin-off world where you say, actually, GTA Online is a complete new spin-off and it's free to play. That's another conversation where you would just say everyone who's got GTA, everyone can get access to GTA Online or this GTA 6 version of it. That is an entirely different conversation, but that is one possible solution as well, where you just go, well, look, just make it free. Everyone can access 6 and we're going to sell loads of cosmetics and that's fine. And then the GTA 6 players get it with some upgrades, plus they get the single player game. That becomes a whole different set of messy things to unpick. But even if you did do all this I've just talked about, the challenge would become, I think, when you go into GTA 5, the Los Santos version of GTA Online, that world is going to have been built on what we currently know, and that's a version of GTA Online that's essentially built on the guts of the PS3 game from 2013 or 2012. It's going to look a certain way. And our expectation is that 6 is going to look elevated and truly next gen. So there's instantly a slight discordance in, you'd have a visual disparity between those 2 versions of the world, even if they're connected through a central front door. I know this is complicated, please bear with me. So that would be in itself weird. Would I believe that they would completely re-upgrade Los Santos to look like Leonida? I can't see that. That's such a big undertaking. I just can't see it. Or is it just going? Or will it just be cleaner to say they're just completely independent? GTA 5 players can access GTA Online, Los Santos. GTA 6 players can access Leonida's version. And they just don't play together, and we just sort of try to run both concurrently. And then we look at a giant graph of revenue for Los Santos in decline, revenue for Leonida in ascendancy, and at a certain point, one will cross over the other. That might be 1 month, 6 months, a year, 2 years, right, from launch, whenever. But there'll come a point where they go, okay, now we no longer support Los Santos, and they'll eventually sunset it when enough of the audience have migrated. These are a lot of different possibilities and tangents, and within them are a series of business decisions and hard coding logistical decisions. So this would have been an utterly fascinating debate to have tracked through Rockstar. And I imagine they've made up their mind, committed to a path already.
Yeah.
They'd have had to have done probably to know the roadmap so far ahead. But that is fascinating, and it's double fascinating because it's not just a technical challenge. At the highest level of the company, it is integral to the fortunes of Take-Two, the publisher, and their NASDAQ-listed entity. This is the bit that blows my mind about all of it. So I haven't got an answer. I've just got some paths they could take. I'd love to know in the comments what you think they should do or what you think they will do. But it's a really complicated decision to unpick.
Now let's put our speculation hats on. If it was you or I, Dan, or from the player's perspective, like what would you hope that they would do? Because I think the most logical step is to call it GTA Online still, and find a way to just make that the new world. So, like Fortnite, I'm going to keep referencing Fortnite because it's my beloved gaming wife.
Yeah.
Like when they update the map and they take everything offline for a day or so, or back in the day, 2 days when they were updating the map. They obviously didn't update the map that much, but it was a massive back-end upgrade. They've also made the jump to UE5 recently, which is another big step. That it just goes offline and then it comes back and it's fresh and new and exciting. That, I think, is a good way to do it, and then everybody is in GTA 6's version of Leonida, and I guess the hardcore committed players who are still there are given a bonus, given some materialistic rewards to say thank you for playing, please continue playing over here. It's a brand new world, you can do the same sort of things, but you're going to have to buy your apartments again, but here's a bunch of money for it. I think that is much cleaner, and I feel like most people are going to be happy with that. I think the only issues then come with all of the role-playing service and that kind of side of GTA Online, that what happens to all of that stuff? Like, is it just turned off? Like, I don't feel that they're going to just turn it off, there'll be a very slow, gradual wind down. And if that GTA Online update that is coming this summer is the final big one, you can see that that's the start of them going, okay, that's basically all the updates you're getting. This now is, the final version of GTA Online. We're not going to update any more mechanics and things into this. We're going to start concentrating on the next one, which will be next year or whenever. But I would go for just transfer everyone to a new world. What would you like as a player?
I'm so with my mind rooted in business and worries about money. I can't even think about it as a player. I think as a player, I'm not that nostalgic. I would simply move on. Like
nuke it.
I wouldn't care if GTA Online got switched. It sounds terrible. I wouldn't care if it was switched off on day one and I went straight to 6. Right? I wouldn't care. Do I think they'll do that? No, I think that's crazy. It's essentially, it's all about money. And in this scenario where they were trying to hard encourage people to do 6, what you would be constantly worried about is how much revenue are we going to lose, because the player base for 6 is going to be smaller than 5 for quite a significant amount of time, and this will damage our revenues. They cannot have that. That just cannot be allowed to exist.
But I guess it would be counterbalanced by everyone buying a new copy of GTA 6, right? There's a whole load of
but companies aren't about good enough. They're about absolute maximising of revenue, and there's no way they could leave revenue on the table by a willful decision to migrate away from a thing that works. They're financially duty bound as a publicly listed company to juice that mother. It would be such a bold decision to sort of go, over 2 or 3 years we'll restore that revenue pipeline, or we'll be able to mask it in year one because of product sales. I think what they'll do, or what they should do, is move from a model where playing GTA Online is not tied to whether you own GTA 5 the product or GTA 6 the product, but GTA Online becoming its own platform, like Fortnite itself, so it's its own ongoing entity. And that's why I raised the question of, could it go free to play, ? I think you make it its own entity that just so happens, flipping the relationship. So it's not about 6 as a road into online, but online exists, and you can also get 6, which is this massive, engaged single player campaign. That would flip the narrative and allow you to create what we talked about, that idea of a unified front door with different routes you can take, and would open the door long term to things like it's the Liberty City map, or whatever the 3 locations Rockstar are doomed to recreate for all time. That would be a way to do it if you had your sort of 10-year strategic planning hat on. That's not without problems, because it's a whole set of messaging problems. And like you touched on, I think what they will probably do is, whichever solution they take, they will do a degree of, you should consider trying 6. And I think you're right. I think they will either offer you something like, and this is what happened when people were kind of encouraged/forced to move from PS4 to PS5 to play GTA Online. Because again, GTA Online on PS5 is a radically enhanced experience over PS4. I don't think it's quite the same level of gap as we're going to see between GTA 6 and GTA 5, to be TBC, but it's a similar thing. And the way they got around that was essentially saying, migrate by this time, you keep all your character, you keep all your money, and you get a free shiny sports car. Mm-hmm. So they put out like a really nice Toyota rip-off sports car you could get. I don't care about that, but I think some people would. It'll just be fascinating to see how they change the messaging and how they resolve it. Whether it is all about, GTA Online and GTA Plus becoming the new central push, and the idea of like product-based releases in this 10, 13-year cycle becoming redundant, and it's more about the omnipresence of GTA Online. I mean, wow, I feel like my head is hurting from describing it, but I think that's how I would look at it strategically.
All right, well, as Dan says, very interested to hear what you all think about in the comments on this week's episode. Please do, if you have any thoughts or questions, put them below in the comments. We do absolutely read them all, or get in touch with us on Twitter at GTA Video Clock. Thank you for joining us for episode 19. This episode, we will be back next week for the landmark episode 20.
Whoa!
Yeah, we're 20 episodes in already. So, yes, thanks again for tuning in. Please get in touch and leave your comments below, and we'll be back next week for another episode of GTA 6 o'clock.